I'm joined by Paul Sloane. Paul is a well-known speaker and author on lateral thinking and innovation. And Paul and I have been talking about how networks can help us innovate better. So Paul, can you just share with us some ideas that if people have a difficult challenge, they want to take their business in a new direction, how can they best tap into their networks effectively to get the best solutions?
It's an interesting question, and it's related to a topic called crowdsourcing. And crowdsourcing involves throwing out any problem you have to the crowd. Not to any crowd, but a select crowd. And there are many examples of it. Incentive do it, and Threadless do it, Starbucks do it, My Starbucks Idea, Dell do it with Dell Idea Storm. And what they're doing is they're saying, give us your ideas. And it's very successful. It involves the community, and if it's done right, you'll get a lot of great ideas.
So you're a small business, doesn't matter small or large, and you think, well, okay, crowdsourcing is the way to go. I want to tap into that wisdom of crowds, as sort of Ecky's put it, if I pronounce that right. What's your next step? What do you do to tap into the crowdsourcing?
You have to define the question very carefully, and you have to think, what outcome do I want? What looks like a good solution? And you have to ask the question, what's in it for the crowd? And typically the crowd want to do it because of participation, because of engagement, because they're interested in the topic, not for monetary reward very often. So I've recently published a book called A Guide to Open Innovation and Crowdsourcing, and I crowdsourced the book. I went to all the leading experts and thinkers and writers in crowdsourcing and open innovation, and I said, would you like to contribute a chapter? I got a commission from Kogan Page first, and then I went to everyone and said, Kogan Page have asked me to write this book, would you like to contribute a chapter? And they nearly all said yes, and I just had to then coordinate it, and I got lots of great chapters in, put them together, edited them a little, and I put together a very interesting book, A Guide to Open Innovation and Crowdsourcing. I crowdsourced the book.
Okay, so you mentioned as well, you mentioned a few online examples, Starbucks being one of them. You mentioned earlier to me that you use social media a lot, so can you use social media to crowdsource, and what would your approach be?
I use social media a lot to promote myself as a thought leader in my sector and to get business, and I recommend other people who are in business to business or business to consumer to do it. And the way to do it, I use Twitter very extensively. I put a lot of effort into Twitter, so I tweet probably 8 or 10 times a day. I schedule tweets in advance. I retweet anything that I think would be of value or interest to my particular followers. So it's not just about self-promotion, though occasionally you do self-promote, I have to admit. It's about adding value. If you're a specialist in a particular area, you should be pointing people towards things that you think they will find interesting. And if you do that, more people will follow you. You become a maven. You become a connector.
Excellent. Paul Sloane, thank you very much.
My pleasure.